Hello, Mzansi. It's Saturday afternoon on SABC 1, and you know what that means. It's time for Game On, brought to you by Hollywood Bets. I am Sizwe, proud to be in the company of first Jerry Kosana, as well as another legend in Shane McGregor. We will have a couple of surprises in a guest for you later on in the show. We'll find out about that later. For now, let's talk about what's been going on out in England. Now, the December period is one that tends to be unpredictable when you talk football, not only, I guess, locally, but in England as well. Beginning of the season, or beginning of the month, I should say, Liverpool in a 9-point gap at the top of the table. Currently, it's 2, but things are interesting in how things are panning out, though. Let's start off with some of the results that have come in. And for one, Liverpool having to come back on a couple of occasions to draw 2-2 against Fulham.
Yeah, obviously, good to be here with you again. Yeah, obviously that game, they had a player sent off early, Robertson, the left back, one of the 5 fit defenders, now made it 4, get sent off early on. And I think it was just a matter of trying to get something out of the game after that. They did well to come back. I honestly thought Fulham would get the points, but yeah, end of the day, it's a point earned rather than points lost. But having said that, you can't be having a player sent off. I actually watched the send off. He deserved it, but it was a terrible first touch on his behalf. So tiredness creeping in, these things happen. But end of the day, without a player, well, good point.
Well, let's talk about Chelsea. They're now second in the log standings. They've won their last 5 games on the trot to get within 2 points of Liverpool. We've talked about them on a few occasions, but my oh my, they're not making a statement. And their coach and their players are still saying, no, look, we're not in the championship race.
Yeah, he keeps on saying that. I think he does that on purpose because to keep the pressure off the youngsters, because that's what he's got there, a bunch of youngsters. It wasn't particularly a good game to watch. They were very ugly. It was an ugly one, as we call it in football, but a win's a win. 3 points is 3 points. Yeah. They just seem to keep doing it. And, I'm looking every week when they're going to falter, but they just keep on getting those results.
Certainly are. Let's talk about a side that we keep thinking, when are they going to get it right? When are they going to get it right? And it seems not to be happening. That's Manchester City at home to Manchester United. Now listen to this. 8 losses in 11 matches after Sunday's defeat to Manchester United, where United came from behind very late in the game to snatch the 3 points.
Very late in the game, and I can see you got a big smile on your face.
Oh, you smile.
I can see that. But, I thought I'll never ever say this. When is Pep going to be looked at to be the next coach fired? We've got to be looking at that.
You think it's time to start having that conversation?
Well, we've got to be looking at that, He doesn't seem to be able to stem the tide. He can't seem to turn things around. I've seen a few clips going around on social media about him ranting and raving in change rooms. How long can that carry on for, If he keeps on losing, there's going to come a time where the owners are going to say, well, hang on a minute. Is he as good as he thinks he is? Is he as good as we think he is? So, you've got to be looking at that. But I feel sorry for them. They just can't seem to buy one.
Can we use the word crisis when you describe Chelsea, City right now?
Yeah, that's a crisis. Definitely is a crisis. When you get to that point where you're fighting to even be in the top 4, that's a crisis for Man City.
Seriously, something to be worried about for Man City. Another result I haven't touched on yet is Arsenal, of course. They started off the weekend with a 0-0 draw against Everton. Now, Arsenal, whilst they haven't been at their best sometimes in open play, have hurt sides from corners, dead ball situations. They had 8 against Everton, still couldn't find their way through.
Yeah, well, if you look at their dead ball situation, they're brilliant at that. Yeah. They've got a guy that does it for them. He's a free kick specialist, and he works on, as you can see, week in, week out, he works on different things. They don't get the results from that. They haven't been scoring goals, and that's a big worry besides set pieces. Yeah. So that's a big worry for me. They got a result. They got a normal draw, but you got to be looking and saying where the goal's going to come from if it's not a set piece.
Let's talk about the game starting now in England. It helps us to Aston Villa up against Manchester City. Yes, Villa aren't quite the side they were last season, having to balance Europe as well as the Premier League, but up against City, still a problem for Guardiola, one would imagine.
Both teams. If you look at Villa, I've always told this to you, is when they play in Europe midweek, the next week they always struggle. Their weekend they always struggle. It's another week on now. They're coming up against a Man City team who have to turn it around. I think this game has draw written all over it just because of that both teams are so desperate for the points, desperate not to lose, that a draw is on cards. And I do think that a draw will be a good result for Man City going away at this stage. You know, obviously they want to get the 3 points, but
Yeah.
I can't see it happening the way they're playing at the moment. They've got to turn it around. I think a draw's on the cards.
Crystal Palace have had their problems for the most part this season. They also had that 2-2 scoreline against City not too long ago. They're up against Arsenal. They're at home against Arsenal. Arsenal can't quite predict them of late, but is this a game where they have to now also start putting together a few wins in a row?
Derby game.
Yeah, Derby as well.
Once again, you know, we always got to say that. Palace are playing hot and cold. You don't know which Palace team's going to pitch up. Arsenal, set pieces. Palace are very good at defending set pieces. They've got the players that can do that. Again, I'm going to go for a draw on this one. I actually think there's going to be a few draws this weekend.
Some good games on Sunday, but I have to start off with Tottenham Hotspur up against Liverpool. That's the one to watch.
Liverpool, you know, as I said before, 4 fit defenders. They're looking tired. Their players are looking tired. I'm not too sure who's going to fill in the left back. I'm not too sure who's going to be playing where. But for me, you look at Spurs team. Again, one of those teams that on their day can beat any team, but are they going to be on their day? And that's a big thing here. You look at Liverpool against Spurs, they got the upper hand over them. I'm going to go with a victory for Liverpool. I had a good look at this. I was going to go with a draw, but I think Liverpool will just get their heads over. Diogo Jota coming back, a few other players coming back. I think they'll just get their nose over the line on this one.
Quickly, Everton-Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, the big surprise package this season.
I'm going to go this week again, a draw.
Draw with this one.
A draw on this one. Everton are desperate.
Yeah?
Chelsea have got to slip up sometimes, so I think the draw.
Well, I'll tell you what, this December certainly kept the hits coming. You know, it's coming out of the football in England, and it's anyone's guess who will start the next year top of the log standings. Never mind inside the top 3 or 4 with the way things have gone, but it's exciting times indeed. We say thank you to Shane, and on the other side of this, we bring in, well, Jerry Skosana to discuss what's been happening on the local scene.